So we got our wiring specialty stuff in. Let's see what we got. So, let me sift through this thing a minute and we'll see if they got all the links right. Alright, here we go. done for the day. I've got the battery charging. I've got the intake on. I ran an actual starter wire. Really hadn't. I did do something with the new hose on the power steering. Got the ECU set in place. I got all the old wire pulled out. The new wire hooked to the windshield wipers. I'm gonna, actually I think I can get away with putting the battery up here. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Unless a turbo or something later, but so what I'm gonna do is actually just bump it and see if it'll bump over to at least make sure it's getting starter signal and everything. So let's see what she'll do. I don't have any fuel lines ran, so, and the fuel line is not hooked up, or the power to the fuel pump. We got power. Well, we got that at least. So, now we will get some headers, get the fuel lines figured out, get some fans hooked up, put some coolant in it, clean the battery terminal ends and get all that stuff hooked up right. I don't have any engine coolant temperature sensor. These didn't plug in. I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'll probably run an aftermarket one. But it cranks over, so that's a good start. So, alright, here we go. Alright guys, hey, thanks for watching the video. I know it's just the 2J swapping the S14 continually right now, but that's what I'm doing. That's all we got going. I did talk to the tuner. I'm working with him, trying to get a schedule figured out. And again, we still got that IS300 to tinker with. So I may order a few parts here. I do have some headers. I do have a short air intake, but I think I'm going to order one. That way I don't have to take away from another project. So yeah, I've got a few things to finish up as far as, you know, some plumbing and stuff. I got to get a hose for the radiator and some other things, but yeah, we're getting there. And then I don't know, I don't have the intake on yet. What is the issue here? Oh yeah. I gotta have the pieces for the fuel rail. Once I get the pieces for the fuel rail, I can lock it down. In the meantime, I can figure out how I'm gonna hook the fuel line up to it. And really that's where we're at. So just keep trucking along and charge this battery. Let's see what we can come up with. Alright guys, hey, thanks for watching the video. Alright, here we go. So the IS300 came with a fuel pressure regulator. Cheap eBay one. It was in the car when I bought the car. Okay, I had that fitting. This was the hose that was on the 240 before. Got a stock rail. I found that on the 1JZ on the back corner of the intake manifold. I guess it's probably for the brake booster. So I robbed it, put it as my fuel rail. I tapped it to where it would fit the fuel rail. Then I drilled and tapped the opposite end. So looking at it in the car, this is going to be your fuel side of your GE fuel rail. And this fitting actually came on this regulator. It was the opposite of this one. So there was two of those. Well, I had another fitting in here to tie this to that. So I went ahead and did that so I could drop the fitting and put it in here. Okay, so I put the fitting in here. That will, I'll have to figure out which way to manipulate this, but that will come out, go into the line going to my regulator as such. Then that will be mounted somewhere and it will feed back to the return. So that way I can adjust my regulator And then this is my supply again. That's where it comes in. This is where it goes out. Goes through my regulator, back to my return. So I'm assuming one is in and one is out. It doesn't say. So I may have to change this to the other one. I may have to swap this one to here. I think it going in is on the bottom on this one. I kind of blew in it and it seemed like I got air going this way but not the other. But I'll figure that out. So what I need now is enough hose to go from here over to where my filter comes in, so my supply will come in on this side. So I have to go back to my filter, tie into that after I get it all wrapped or whatever, and then coming out, and then so I'll have to come up with a hose to go from this back to my the return. And it may be long enough, it may not, but this came with a coupling, and I have a little more hose, so I might be able to have enough hose to do that. If not, I'll just order some hose from AutoZone, but I think I'll have to have that piece from here back to my filter, so I'll at least have to have that. But I had most everything to make this work out, and I need to do this on the IS300. I think I'll buy a radium fuel pressure or fuel rail and just whatever regulator, maybe a name brand, but and I need to make a return for the IS300. I'm now aware, but when I put it all together, I didn't know any better. I mean, I didn't know it had to have it, and I don't think it has to have it. I think, you know, with upping the fuel pump, that will work. But I mean, there's factory cars that are returnless, you know, there's built cars that are returnless. So I have to decide if I want to run that rail. I had it ordered, they wasn't in stock, the one place that I did order it. So I'm dealt the hand, I want to order it again, or do, because we're so close to getting to the guy tuning it, it wouldn't be here anyway, and if it did get here, I wouldn't have time to put it on. So that's kind of the hand I'm dealt. But while I'm working on this, the line's already ran for the return. Figured something out. It's just a drift car, it's a beater. So, but this will work. So, all right, now I've got I think the two fittings, the two spacers come in. I need to check and see if those come in at the house, and I need to get that hose. I did go ahead and put the headers on, so I could put fuel to this and pressure test it, and be about ready to, honestly, probably just hook up the radiator. Well, I don't really have to hook the radiator up to start it, but finish this up, and it's possible I might be able to start it. I'm using the 1J ECU to crank this. The GS300 ECU wouldn't plug into that harness, so that's going to be an issue at some point, but the 1J may start this, I don't know. I'm gonna try it after we crank it over for a second and, you know, put some fuel into it and make sure we got everything we need: fuel, fire, air. I do have to have an intake, which I've got the 1J one, and get the right mass airflow sensor in it so it'll read it. I can run the 1J mass airflow, I still have that. So yeah, I mean, if it has to have that mass airflow, it'll at least crank the car and we can hear it run. So that way I can check for fuel leaks, all that stuff, and adjust the regulator. Not really sure what the factory fuel pressure is, but I need to Google that. But this is how I made my return. I tried to take a pair of channel locks or something. It looked like that end might come off, but it didn't. So I ended up just drilling in the end. I didn't center it. I could have used this just the same, but I like the fact of it coming out and coming around the intake, because I'm still using a top manifold. So that way, if I have to tighten it or anything, if I don't have it tight enough or redo it, I may not have to pull all the intake off to get to the end of the rail. So that's why I went on the outside end. But I need to hook that up, make sure I got enough hose for that. I need a vacuum tee. I may have to get some plastic ones. I may have some plastic vacuum tees. But either way, that's my fuel return setup. So, all right. I think it's about time to put this in. All right, here we go. Okay, so that's just a temporary. I may end up just putting a bolt in the back, and that way it can stay there, but it snakes around, goes into that end of the rail, and the fuel will go in on that side, and then come back over and come to where the filter will live, right there in that hanger. So I'll have to go get some of the heat protecting stuff if AutoZone has it, and a little bit of fuel hose. So, alright, here we go. Alright, so let's take a look at where the fuel line is going to come in. It's actually going to come in right here up to the filter. So we're going to have to wrap that line and this line at least up to where the filter is. So I went to AutoZone and got another batch of this, and I may have used that somewhere. I don't know that I've actually used, maybe in this car, now that I think about it. So what we've got is, this stuff is like a wrap. See, it doesn't actually open up, so you have to put it on, you have to slide it down, you know, however far. So we'll slide this down and we'll see how far we actually need to go on these lines. May not be able to get both lines in one thing. We may have to do one line in one piece of this. Yeah, it looks like it's just for one line. I don't know. We may be able to. So let me get this on and get it down as far as we can and kind of see where it needs to live. All right, here we go. All right, so I went ahead and pressure tested the fuel lines. The red fitting, this whole ordeal, that was on this side, not the barb that's on the bottom. Leaking gas everywhere. But the red fitting leaked in the middle. So I'm just going to try to buy another barb fitting, and we'll put that on, tie in the rest of the, the fuel lines, and then that should be done. That's the only leak I had. So we'll get that done. All that's done. So then I've got to come up with the radiator hose and, you know, the rest of it. So that's where I'm at. Getting closer. I'm ready for this thing to start. Shannon stopped by and talked to me for a little while. We hung out. My neighbor across the street, or I'd probably be further along, which I need a break from this anyway. So tomorrow I'll probably go collect at the pool tables. I got some pool tables out and some coin-op pool tables, and they called me. They want me to come collect those tomorrow. I guess they're full. And yeah, so that'll be a whole day away from here, so that'd be good. I need a break. I'd like to get this thing done here at Run at least. I may end up having to find an ECU for this thing. I don't know how that's going to go, but it's possible. So either way, hey guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button, like the bell, hit the bell. Got to give you a notification we've posted another video. So, all right, here we go.
I'm feeling high.